Okay, so this will be the second part of my video on the Ravages of Time characters. So this time I will focus on the 8 geniuses, and although Sima and Huo and others are very important to the story, the 8 geniuses sort of take center stage later on. I mean, we already heard of them, and they're always been compared to Sima in terms of intelligence. So these are some of the most no, these are the smartest group in the series, basically, along with our main character, Zongda or Sima. And every time they move, they sort of cause historical events throughout the series. They become very important. Most of them are historical characters as well, so they should be very important to the story, pretty much. So as we can see, the 8 geniuses are pretty much trained under the school known as the Water Mirror. So it's said that every time they have to pick their lords, and a lord that will create peace throughout the land. But how do they choose that lord? That's up to their own judgment. That's how they will do it. It depends on how they will pick the so-called lord that will bring peace throughout all of Han. That's pretty much the purpose of the 8 geniuses. So as we focus on the first geniuses is Yuan Fang, so the first genius. Unlike most characters in the series, he is not an actual historical character. His family, however, is the most known member is his father, Yuan Shao, one of Cao Cao's enemies. Unlike most geniuses, he has no particular specialty. He is skilled in all forms of warfare and even manages to beat other geniuses at their own area of expertise, or the part of the war that they are specialty in. He's also one of the few geniuses who is a capable general and not just a strategist, meaning he can go into the front lines himself. Not really obvious on the first part of the story, but later on he showed he can be a general. So Yuan Fang had a childhood sweetheart. I forgot her name, but it was killed by Yuan Shao because he is an illegitimate son of Yuan Shao, and he considers it a weakness since Yuan Shao's legitimate sons are incompetent. He considers Yuan Fang to be the true heir, pretty much, or he wants him to be the true heir. He wants him to take the Fang family, the family, pretty much. So hence he does not approve of their relationship. So, but Yuan Fang never really forgive Yuan Shao for this, and he plots throughout his life to exact his revenge. And for most of the series, he is mostly a support character. But during the Guandu arc, so he becomes the main antagonist of that arc, and he is very dangerous. He's very effective, and he took on several geniuses. The second genius, and I think all of them, pretty much all of them, except for the 7th and the 6th and the 8th geniuses. But aside from that, they all became active during this time. And then so okay, so he became the and then and Cao Cao and Sima Yi as well, and yeah. In fact, it was revealed that being the first genius, he's one of the reasons why the 8 Genius Project was created in the first place, because he is so talented and way above those older than him. All strategists pretty much were. I mean, he's better than all of them, if not most of them. But the problem was he grew arrogant because of this. So the School of Water Mirror, their master, he had to train several younger geniuses. He had to look for geniuses that are younger than Yuan Fang, so that he can somewhat humble him, because he's being too good for his own benefit, and he needs to be humbled in a bit. So that's one of the reason Master Mirror searched for basically 7 other geniuses, and then it became the 8 geniuses. And then, despite that, even among his fellow geniuses, he proves that he is one of the best, and he's actually a candidate for the Crouching Dragon, which is supposed to be one of the best among the geniuses, along with the Fledgling Phoenix. And then he later nearly makes a perfect plan to get rid of Cao Cao, and exact his revenge on Yuan Shao at the same time. So he nearly got rid of all his enemies. Unfortunately, he was against Sima Yi, so that's the only flaw in his plan. He didn't take that into consideration. But since his Yuan Shao kind of died a broken man in the end, and his family pretty much collapsed because they depended on him too much. So in the end, he kind of won. Although he died, he was betrayed because he thought Sima Yi was the spy, but it turns out Sima Yi was just a distraction. So it was several plans going on that beat him. But nevertheless, Yuan Fang is very good, and I think he's deserving of the to be a candidate to have the title of the Crouching Dragon. But of course, he's not the strongest genius. That goes to someone else. But his arc was pretty good, I said. After Lubu, I never really thought another main villain is gonna be better. But Yuan Fang, I think, is a close second for me, maybe. But maybe there will be another one that will take the second spot in the Ravages of Time. Second spot next to Lubu, because Lubu is my number one favorite in the Ravages of Time so far, and Lubu and Sima Yi, pretty much two of them. But Yuan Fang's pretty good too. Next is the second genius, Sun Yu. He's sort of the diplomatic genius. He's the most conservative of them all. He's so good at diplomacy, using it in war. He can unite several factions and make them use them as their army. Use them for Cao Cao or the Emperor. He's the most conservative of all. He is with Cao Cao because Cao Cao wants to save the Emperor, but his true loyalty is really to the Emperor, and he wants to save all of Han. And as I said, he's a diplomatic genius. He managed to several times he managed to combine forces that are not really that are at odds with each other, but he managed to do it. So Sun is very good. He's an excellent administrator of the Han Empire, pretty much. But I think there will be more focus on Sun Yu later. He was beaten by his own game by Yuan Fang later on, but Sun Yu's still pretty good. He's still a major player throughout the series. And I think in the latest chapter we're gonna focus on Sun Yu. But so I think in the future there will be more. I hope I can discuss more on Sun Yu later. But for now, I will just say that he is a diplomatic genius among them, and that's his specialty, and using that diplomatic skills in war, pretty much. And then the next genius is Jiashu, the third genius, one of the first to be active. He was actually with Dong Zhuo, and he picked Dong Zhuo as his lord. And he plots to exact revenge on Lubu, and he follows the dark art of war ideology, which he believes that a ruthless warlord is the key to a peaceful hand, and hence he picked Dong Zhuo. And then after Dong Zhuo's death, he rallies the remaining forces and plots revenge against Lubu, and he managed to overthrow Lubu twice, and the third time with Sima Yi's help, because Lubu just won't go down, he won't die, no matter what Jiashu does. He just accepted at the end that we need Sima Yi, and then it all worked out in the end. But it took a lot. It took a lot to take down Lubu. So much. More than they were expecting, I would say. And then he later joins Cao Cao, even though Cao Cao does not always follow his advice, because Cao Cao is not really a puppet warlord. He's his own person. I mean, see. And then after Gujia's death, he becomes the main advisor to Cao Cao, or at least one of the main advisor, because Sima Yi is also there now, and then Gujia's supposed mysterious successor. Now, speaking of Gujia, I've been talking about him so much. He is the fourth geniuses, and the suggestion of Jiashu, he is to join Cao Cao, and then he really doesn't want to join Cao Cao because he's terminally ill. He's sort of depressed. He won't make it in time, so he has a tendency to plot. When he finally decided to join, he has a tendency to plot on long term. He wants his plans to go way beyond his death, because he really won't be alive to see the fruition of his plans. And like Jiashu, he follows the dark art of war in choosing a ruthless warlord, and he even went out of his way to make Cao Cao's image into a general, to a public figure, from a loyalist of Han to a very savage and dangerous warlord, pretty much sort of a villainous guy. And Cao Cao himself sees himself as a anti-hero, and something like that. So there we go. And Joshua is he's he sees Konsimai as dangerous, but he welcomes him to Cao Cao's forces anyway because he's wary about the seventh genius. But that really didn't work out in the end because there's a plan within a plan beyond that plan. That might sound crazy, but there's a lot of that in Ravage of Time. Plans within a plan, basically. So that's it for Gujia, and of course he succumbs to his illness later on. But his plan does continues, and he and Sima Yi they keep on outsmarting each other even after Gujia's death. Next, the fifth genius is Zhou Yu, and the genius that chose Sun Ce as his lord, which will be one of the founders of the Three Kingdoms. One of the few geniuses that are also generals, meaning he has fighting skills aside from being a genius strategist himself. And he compares himself to a fish, sort of, and then that he will become a dragon. And his specialty is he calls himself the specialty in water and fire, meaning his specialty in using the fire is using arson in war, and the water is naval warfare. Pretty much, he's an excellent naval warfare strategist as well, and he can fight because he practiced with Sun Ce, and Sun Ce is one of the strongest warrior here. I think Sun Ce is top 10 in when it comes to the strongest here. Maybe I think Sun Ce deserves top 10 strongest in the Ravages of Time, and Zhou Yu does practices with Sun Ce, so he's smart and strong as well. He's with along with Yuan Fang, one of the few geniuses that are not just a strategist but are also a general as well. And I think that's it. Zhou Yu, like the rest, is one of the geniuses to fall after Sun Ce's death, but he went out of his own way, like Gujia and others. And as for the sixth genius is one of my favorite, one of the best genius, definitely. Pang Tong. This Pang Tong is amazing, pretty much. He's known as the fledgling phoenix, but only because Sima Yi is not a member of the eight geniuses. Because Sima Yi beat him to guessing the meaning of Dongzhuo's code years ago, so the one who deserves the title is Sima Yi. But since he's not a member of the eight geniuses, and Pang Tong did manage to give an answer, the second best answer, based on the information they have, he got the title. But I think he never let that go. So despite that he's most likely the second best geniuses in the eight, Pang Tong is an excellent teacher and said that he could even unify the eight geniuses because he is a teacher. And his specialty is using persuasion in the art of war. Because of this, not only is he an advisor in war, he's also a lobbyist for whoever he is working with. Pang Tong is responsible for one of the most important events in the series, which is the massacre of the Sima family. He effectively managed to unite the warlords against Cao Cao and put the blame on the handicapped warriors and Sima family for his chosen lord, which is Liu Chong. Unfortunately, Liu Chong is not a very good lord, and he kinda died kinda fast. That's a problem. And his change stratagem is one of the most impressive. So, as a teacher, he gave the several warlords a challenge to solve, and it turns out the answer is to eliminate Cao Cao, and then they come to the conclusion together and form an alliance against Cao Cao. He then used Huo to participate in this, then even when Cao Cao managed to survive, he will assume that it was Sima Yi and his clan who is responsible because Huo was involved in this plan. And so he destroyed Cao Cao's forces, and then he got Cao Cao to go against the Sima clan and the handicapped warriors as well. So it put his lord Liu Chong in a pretty good position. So unfortunately, again, even though Liu Chong was chosen by a very good strategist, he was too trusting, and he got killed off quite early. And yeah, and Pang Tong seems to be outside when he went quiet for a while. He wants to just observe the things that are going on. But Sima Yi is already planning to, most likely, Sima Yi is planning to exact revenge on Pang Tong. But it's gonna be hard because Pang Tong is pretty smart, one of the smartest genius as well, and he's very effective, very good at what he does. And for the latest chapter, I think he chose Liu Bei because he doesn't understand why the seventh genius would choose Liu Bei, and then he was sort of convinced later on. So in the latest chapter, he already worked for Liu Bei, and he's pretty much a lobbyist for now. But he and Sima Yi has got a lot of beef right now, and most likely we will see that in the future. It's actually one of the things that I'm looking forward to in the Ravages of Time. Sima Yi's revenge on both Cao Cao and Pang Tong. And Pang Tong he's very impressive. He's a very cool character. Love Pang Tong pretty much. I think he's my favorite genius. I think, yeah, probably Pang Tong's my favorite genius here. And the seventh genius is Zhu Giliang. And I forgot to mention, everyone here so far, aside from Yuan Fang, is a historical character. And Zhu Giliang is one of the most well-known, pretty much. And he's repeatedly called as the strongest among the 8 geniuses. He's a legendary figure in ancient China and said to be capable of manipulating the weather. And Zhu Giliang is elevated to a sort of a godlike status already in myths, and he's one of the main characters of the original novel, The Romance of the Three Kingdoms, along with his lord Liu Bei. And it seems he's also skilled in every form of warfare, but I don't think he's a general so far that I've seen. But I have yet to see him fight like Yuan Fang and Zhou Yu. So for now, I think he's skilled in persuasion and prediction, meaning he's skilled in persuasion like Pang Dong, and he's also good at what they call this, at diplomacy like Sun Yu. So that's what I can get so far. He can predict things like Yuan Fang, so he's multi-talented too. But I'm not sure if he can fight, because for now he's a minister for the Liu Bei army. You know, he plans in long terms like Gujia, and despite being younger and not being really sick, he predicted the emergence of the Three Kingdoms and has been preparing to help Liu Bei to be one of the three lords that will eventually emerge in this new system. He shows his skills in the Battle of the Red Cliff, where he outsmarts even his own fellow geniuses, meaning he is a genius among the geniuses. He predicted the weather and created a strategy where he and Liu Bei will benefit the most. He managed to decimate most of Cao Cao's army without even personally joining the war. He just puts them at the exact place and the exact time where he wanted them to be. So, true to Sun Tzu's art of war, he won the war without fighting. He won the battle, and more to say, not the war. He won the battle without fighting. He was just in the mountain, seeing it all unfolds. So I think that's also one of the greatest strategy, although might not be as visually or impressive like what Pang Tong did. But Zhu Giliang is a genius among the 8 geniuses, pretty much. So it seems that he and Sima Yi so far are somewhat equal, and so far, but the only problem is Zhu Giliang has yet to be caught off guard, because Sima Yi, there are times that he was caught off guard in the story, like Pang Tong did. He caught Sima Yi off guard, so he managed to massacre, to set up the massacre of the Sima family. So far, no one has caught Zhu Giliang off guard yet. So for now, he's clean. And in the latest, it seems they're now collaborating. He's collaborating with Sima Yi. No one would really lose. There are sort of strategies where no one really lose. So the best way for no one to lose, no one among Zhu Giliang and Sima Yi to lose, is both of them to be collaborators. And that's what they've been doing it turns out, and what seems to be, for most of the series. They have been collaborators, or they have been planning to be collaborators from the moment they met, pretty much. So Sima Yi wants to destroy the Cao Cao and his legacy, sort of, and Zhu Giliang wants to stop the Cao Cao invading all Han. So they're pretty much equal right now, as far as we can see. So for now, I think that's more with Zhu Giliang. He's very impressive, and like I said, a genius among geniuses. As for the 8 genius, I'm not gonna reveal the eight geniuses face because it's a huge reveal and it's among the latest. And you have to read the Ravages of Time to experience the what you call this, the my amazement, or our amazement for when the eight geniuses face was revealed. So for now, let's call him the eight genius. This is not really what he looks like. This is actually Zhuge but they all look like this when they're in their eight geniuses costume. So I'll use this image for now. So the eight geniuses is the most mysterious of them all. So uh, he was the last to make a move. There's still a lot of mystery, but he's member of the Zhao family, meaning he can fight aside from being a genius himself, and he's also one of the eight eccentrics, one of the eight freaks, and he's also one of the eight geniuses right now. So he can fight, and then he has this. He uses religion. That's his specialty, and then he is with the eight geniuses. He's waiting for them to pretty much fight or kill each other until he makes his move, and then he takes over the School of Water Mirror later on. They call him the skilled in knowing the wills of the heavens, but that's just him viewing religion. So he has a cult pretty much right now. So he pretty much so he's now plotting with Mao Teng to become a major power in all of Han. I think they want to be the third power that Zhuge Liang is planning. They want to sort of modify Zhuge Liang's plan and to become one of the third powers rather than than the original three powers that are in Zhuge Liang's plan. So he's plotting with Mao Teng right now. At least that's as far as I can tell, but there might be more. And like I said, he's one of the eight eccentrics. Using religion in warfare is been forbidden by the water mirror, because once you cross that, you can never really go back, because religion is also the religion, as in the cult, is very dangerous once it goes out of control. And he later kills their teacher, and like I said, he inherits the water mirror. Later uses it for his plan to expand his own to expand his own forces. So it's also revealed that he took the position of the eight genius from Sima Yi himself, which is that's why I'm saying the eight genius is probably the most important here, and but maybe even more important than Zhuge Liang, because Zhuge Liang is very good, but the eight geniuses actually took the spot from the main character, or not the main character, one of the main characters of the story, the point of view character, Sima Yi, because he put Sima Yi to sleep. And so as a result, the Master of Water Mirror doesn't like that. He fails Sima Yi. He went and Sima Yi went home. As a result, this guy, the eight geniuses, was picked as the actual eight geniuses. And so he has more plans in the future. So for now, I think I'll stop there with the eight geniuses for now. There's most likely there will be more on them because they're still going on. They're still active, especially Sun Yu and the eight geniuses right now. But like I said, the one that I'm looking forward the most is Pang Tong, and also whatever Zhuge Liang is planning. So I think I'll stop here for the eight geniuses. These eight are very good characters. I would say all of them are very good. I enjoy them a lot. And for the next, I think I will focus on the three lords of the three kingdoms, according to what Zhuge Liang and Sima Yi's plan. Okay, so that will be it for now.